They asked for volunteers who were small, under 5'7", they said. Preferably under 130 pounds. Nobody asked what the job was. Should have asked. Specialist 4, Anthony Russo, United States Army, 25th Infantry Division. I was a tunnel rat in Vietnam from 1968 to 1969. That's what they called us, tunnel rats. Guys who went down into the Viet Cong tunnel systems with nothing but a flashlight, a pistol, and the knowledge that every foot forward might be your last. Crawling through darkness so complete you couldn't see your hand in front of your face. Feeling your way through tunnels barely wide enough for your shoulders. Never knowing if the next turn would lead to a VC with a knife or a booby trap or a chamber full of bats or snakes or poison gas. 6 years since I came home, and I still can't be in enclosed spaces. Can't ride elevators. Can't sleep with the door closed. Can't breathe in small rooms. The tunnels are still with me. Still feel them closing in. Still feel the earth pressing down, the darkness swallowing me, the certainty that I was going to die down there. I grew up in South Philadelphia, Italian neighborhood, working class. My father was a longshoreman. My mother worked at a textile factory. I had 4 brothers, 2 sisters. Big family, small apartment. I was the second youngest, skinny kid. Always been small for my age. Got teased about it growing up. Hey, Russo, you sure you're Italian? You look like a malnourished leprechaun. That kind of thing. Learned to fight above my weight class. Had to. I graduated high school in 1966. No college plans. We couldn't afford it. I was working at a garage, changing oil, fixing flats, making enough to help my family. Then my draft notice came in March 1967. Didn't try to dodge it. Wasn't how I was raised. My father had fought in World War II, had been at Anzio. He didn't talk about it much, but he'd served. So would I. Basic training at Fort Dix, New Jersey. Advanced infantry training at Fort Polk, Louisiana. They taught us to shoot, to move, to follow orders. Taught us we were going to Vietnam and most of us would see combat. The instructors were matter-of-fact about it. Learn what we teach you or die over there. Your choice. I learned. I was good at it, too. High scores on the rifle range. Good at tactical movement. Kept my head in stressful situations. The drill sergeant called me scrappy. Said I fought like a cornered rat. Meant it as a compliment. Didn't know how prophetic that was. Shipped out to Vietnam in January 1968. Tet Offensive hit 2 weeks after I arrived. Welcome to the war, kid. The whole country exploded. VC and NVA attacking everywhere. Saigon, Hue, military bases. Cities we thought were secure. It was chaos. My unit, the 25th Infantry Division, was fighting outside Cu Chi, trying to push back VC forces that had come out of nowhere. Except they hadn't come from nowhere. They'd come from below, from the tunnels. The Cu Chi tunnel system was massive. Over 150 miles of underground passages, chambers, hospitals, supply depots, living quarters. The VC had been building it for years, right under our noses, right under our base. They'd pop up, hit us, disappear back underground before we could respond. It was guerrilla warfare taken to its extreme, and we didn't know how to fight it. That's when they started looking for tunnel rats, guys small enough to fit in the tunnels, brave enough or crazy enough to go down there. They asked for volunteers at a company formation in March 1968. We need men for a special assignment, the captain said. Dangerous work. Underground. Tight spaces. Must be 5 feet 7 inches or shorter. Must be able to handle extreme stress. Must be willing to engage the enemy at close quarters in pitch darkness. My buddy Tommy DeMarco, standing next to me, whispered, "Fuck that. That's a suicide job." He was right. Everyone knew it. The tunnels were death traps, booby-trapped, defended, deliberately designed to be too small for most Americans. The VC knew we'd have to come down there eventually, and they'd made sure it would cost us. But I was 5 feet 5, weighed 125 pounds. I fit the profile perfectly. And something in me, some combination of stupidity and pride and a need to prove myself, made me step forward. "I'll volunteer, sir." Tommy grabbed my arm. "Tony, don't. You don't have to do this. I'm the right size. If I don't, they'll find someone else. Might as well be me." 6 other guys volunteered. 7 of us in total. The captain looked us over like he was picking horses at an auction, checking our builds, our demeanor, our eyes, looking for something he could only see in person. "All right. You 7, report to Lieutenant Morrison at 0600 tomorrow. He'll brief you on the mission and start your training. And men, thank you. This is important work, dangerous work, but important." Important. Right. Important like running into a burning building. Important like defusing a bomb. Important like volunteering to die in the worst way imaginable. We reported the next morning. Lieutenant Morrison, thin guy, maybe 30, looked like he'd seen too much, gave us the brief. "Gentlemen, you've volunteered for tunnel operations. Let me be clear about what that means. You'll be going into VC tunnel complexes to map them, destroy them, and eliminate any enemy inside. The tunnels are narrow, 2 to 3 feet wide in most places. You'll be crawling. You'll be in complete darkness except for your flashlight. The VC will have home field advantage. They know the tunnels. You don't. They'll set booby traps. They'll ambush you. They'll flood sections with water or gas. And if you get wounded down there, extraction will be nearly impossible." He paused. Let that sink in. "Anyone want to back out?" No shame in it. Nobody moved. Pride, stupidity, or just masculine bullshit, whatever it was, none of us backed down. "All right, let's get you trained. You probably won't survive this, but let's at least give you a chance." Training lasted 2 weeks. They had us practice in mock tunnel systems they'd built. Narrow concrete pipes, barely wide enough to crawl through. They'd set up scenarios, booby traps, ambushes, dead ends. Taught us to move silently, to clear chambers, to navigate by feel when your flashlight failed. They issued us specialized equipment. A .45 pistol, more stopping power than an M16 in close quarters, and it wouldn't deafen you in a confined space. A flashlight, Army issue, heavy, reliable, a knife, a gas mask, though if you needed it, you were probably already dead. And that was it. No grenades. Too dangerous in confined spaces, could collapse the tunnel on top of you. No rifle. Too long, couldn't maneuver. Just you, your pistol, and your wits. "Remember," Morrison told us, "in the tunnels, you're on their terms. They're smaller than you, know the layout, can move faster in the dark. Your only advantage is your firepower and your training. Use both wisely. Move slowly. Check everything. Trust nothing. And if you get a bad feeling, back out. A dead tunnel rat helps no one." My first mission was April 15th, 1968. We'd gotten intelligence about a tunnel entrance near a village outside Ku Chai. My job was to go down, map what I could, see if it was worth demolishing or if it connected to a larger system. The entrance was small. A hole in the ground, maybe 2 feet by 2 feet, covered with a bamboo mat and leaves, easy to miss. The VC had gotten good at camouflage. You could walk right past these entrances and never know. I stood there looking at that black hole in the ground. My squad was around me, security, backup, extraction team if things went bad. Tommy was there, looking at me like I was already dead. "You don't have to do this," he said. "Yeah, I do." I checked my gear, pistol loaded, one in the chamber, safety on, flashlight working, knife secured, gas mask attached to my belt. I took a deep breath of fresh air, knowing it might be the last fresh air I breathed. Then I went in. The darkness was immediate and absolute. I clicked on my flashlight. The beam cut through the blackness, illuminating red clay walls, roots hanging from the ceiling, the tunnel stretching ahead into nothing. The tunnel was about 3 feet wide, maybe 2.5 feet high. I had to crawl on my hands and knees. The smell hit me first. Earth and dampness and something else. Something organic and wrong. Death, I realized. The smell of death. How many people had died down here? How many bodies were buried in these walls? I started crawling. Every movement echoed. Every breath sounded loud. The tunnel was silent except for me. No voices, no movement, just darkness and my ragged breathing. 10 feet in, I found the first booby trap, a tripwire, barely visible in the flashlight beam, connected to something in the wall, couldn't tell what. Grenade, maybe, or a punji stake trap, or a deadfall. Didn't matter. I marked it with chalk, backed up carefully, found a way around it. 20 feet in, the tunnel branched, left or right. No way to know which was safer, which led deeper into the complex. I picked left. Arbitrary decision that might save my life or end it. The tunnel got narrower. My shoulders were scraping the walls now. Roots were catching on my gear. I had to move slower, more carefully. The claustrophobia was starting to hit, that animal panic of being trapped in a small space. I forced it down. Panic would kill me faster than the VC. 30 feet in, I heard something. A scraping sound. Ahead of me. In the darkness beyond my flashlight beam. I froze. Turned off my light. Waited in the absolute darkness, listening. The sound came again. Closer. Something moving toward me. I pulled my pistol, aimed at where I thought the sound was coming from. My finger was on the trigger, safety off, breathing shallow, heart pounding so hard I thought it would give me away. Then something touched my face. I almost fired. Almost pulled the trigger and filled that tunnel with .45 caliber rounds. But at the last second, I realized what it was. A rat, an actual rat, crawling over my head, startled by my presence. I let out a breath I didn't know I'd been holding. Clicked my light back on. The rat squeaked and disappeared into a crack in the wall, and I kept crawling. That was my introduction to tunnel fighting, terror, adrenaline, and rats. So many rats. The deeper I went, the worse it got. The tunnel was a maze, branches, dead ends, vertical shafts going up or down. Some sections were reinforced with wood. Others were just raw earth held up by luck and prayer. The VC had built this by hand over years, and they'd built it to kill invaders. I found more booby traps, a section of tunnel rigged to collapse if you touched the wrong support beam. A hidden pit, maybe 10 feet deep, filled with punji stakes, sharpened bamboo, probably dipped in poison or feces. Step in that and you were dead. Not quickly either, slowly from infection, screaming in the dark while nobody could reach you. I found evidence of recent occupation, food wrappers, cigarette butts, a sandal left behind. The VC had been here recently, maybe hours ago. Maybe they were still here, deeper in the complex, waiting. 50 feet in, the tunnel opened into a chamber, maybe 10 feet across, 7 feet high. I could actually stand up. It felt like luxury after the crawling. I swept my flashlight around, checking corners, ceiling, floor. There were supplies, rice bags, ammunition crates, medical supplies. This was a staging area, a place where the VC would rest, regroup, plan attacks. And it was empty, recently abandoned. The rice was fresh. The bandages were clean. They knew I was coming, knew someone was in their tunnels. They'd pulled back, deeper into the system, setting up an ambush, waiting for me to follow, or just gone, abandoning this section. No way to know. I marked the location on my hand-drawn map, noted the supplies, and kept moving. Mission was to map the tunnel system, so I mapped. The next section went down. A vertical shaft, maybe 20 feet deep. Ladder made of bamboo. No way to know if it would hold my weight. No way to know what was at the bottom. But that was the job. So I climbed down. The shaft led to a lower level, deeper tunnels, more branches, more darkness. The air was thinner here, harder to breathe. I checked my watch. I'd been underground for 45 minutes. Morrison had said to turn back after an hour. Any longer, and you risk getting lost, running out of air, or collapsing from exhaustion. 15 minutes left. I could do a quick reconnaissance of this lower level and then head back. That's when I heard voices, Vietnamese voices, coming from ahead, multiple people talking in low tones. I couldn't make out the words, but the tone was clear, relaxed, conversational. They didn't know I was there. Protocol said to back out. Don't engage unless necessary. Your job is reconnaissance, not combat. But these were VC in their tunnel, planning who knows what, and I was a soldier. My job was to kill the enemy. I moved forward slowly, inch by inch, turned off my flashlight, navigated by sound and touch. The voices got louder. There was light ahead, faint, flickering, candles maybe, or an oil lamp. I reached a corner, peeked around it. There was another chamber, slightly larger than the first. 4 VC soldiers, young guys, maybe 20 years old, sitting around a lamp, eating rice, talking. Their weapons were leaning against the wall. They felt safe. They were in their own tunnel, deep underground, surrounded by booby traps and darkness. Who would be crazy enough to come down here? Me. That's who. I had a choice. Back out. Report what I found. Call in airstrikes or artillery to collapse the tunnel. That was the smart play, the safe play. Or I could take them out. 4 enemy soldiers. Right here. Right now. Prevent whatever attack they were planning. I made the choice. Pulled my pistol. Aimed at the first one. Center mass. Took a breath. Squeezed the trigger. The shot was deafening in the enclosed space. The VC soldier jerked backward, blood spraying from his chest. The others scrambled for their weapons. I fired again, and again, and again. 3 down. The 4th dove behind the rice bags. I couldn't see him. Moved into the chamber, using the wall for cover. He popped up, AK-47 in hand. Fired. The muzzle flash blinded me. I felt the rounds pass. One hit the wall next to my head, showering me with dirt and rock fragments. I fired twice. Both hit. He went down. 4 VC soldiers. Dead. In the span of maybe 10 seconds. My ears were ringing from the gunfire. Couldn't hear anything except a high-pitched whine. Smoke filled the chamber. Gunpowder and blood and death. I checked each body. Made sure they were dead. They were. All young. All someone's son. All dead because they'd been in the wrong place at the wrong time. Or maybe I was in the wrong place. Maybe this was their country, their tunnel, their war. Maybe I was the invader. Maybe they were heroes defending their homeland, and I was the villain. I didn't have time to think about it. The gunfire would attract attention. If there were more VC in the tunnel, they'd be coming. I needed to get out. I ran. Crawled as fast as I could through the tunnels, ignoring the booby traps, ignoring the branches, just following my mental map back to the entrance. Lungs burning, heart pounding, expecting a bullet or a knife or a cave-in any second. I made it to the vertical shaft, climbed up, made it to the main tunnel, kept crawling, saw light ahead, actual daylight filtering down through the entrance. I crawled faster. Burst out of that hole like I was being born again. Tommy grabbed me, pulled me away from the entrance. You okay? We heard shooting. 4 VC, all dead. We need to pull back. More might be coming. We moved to a safe distance, called in artillery. They pounded the area, collapsed the tunnel entrance, hopefully killed anyone else who might have been down there. Mission accomplished. First tunnel mission. 4 enemy killed in action. I'd survived. But something had changed. Something in me had broken, or maybe something had awakened. I'd killed 4 men in the dark, up close, personal, watched them die, smelled their blood, and I'd felt nothing. No remorse, no guilt, just adrenaline and the satisfaction of completing the mission. That scared me more than the tunnels ever could. I went down 17 more times over the next 6 months, 17 more tunnel missions, each one different, each one terrifying, each one left a mark. Some tunnels were empty, abandoned. I'd map them, note the supplies, and call in demolition teams to collapse them. Easy missions, boring, if you can call crawling through darkness boring. Some tunnels had booby traps so dense you could barely move. I'd mark them, find ways around, sometimes have to back out entirely because the traps made progress impossible. Frustrating missions, but safe, relatively. And some tunnels had VC, those were the hard ones. In May, I cleared a tunnel complex that had a field hospital, underground chamber, maybe 15 feet across, filled with wounded VC soldiers, a doctor, 2 nurses, and 8 patients. They surrendered when they saw me. Hands up, no weapons. I should have accepted the surrender. Should have taken them prisoner. But I thought about my buddies who'd been killed by VC ambushes. Thought about the booby traps that had taken American lives. Thought about how these wounded soldiers would heal and go right back to fighting us. I almost shot them. Almost. Finger on the trigger, aim shifting from face to face. But I couldn't. They were unarmed, surrendering. Wounded, even in a war, even underground in a VC tunnel, some lines you don't cross. I backed out, called it in. A PSYOP team went down with me, accepted the surrender, took them prisoner. The right decision, the moral decision. But part of me wondered if it was the smart decision. How many Americans would those soldiers kill once they healed? In June, I got trapped. A tunnel collapsed behind me. Maybe an artillery strike on the surface. Maybe a delayed booby trap. Maybe just bad luck. The exit was blocked. Tons of earth between me and the surface. And I was 60 feet underground with 1 flashlight, 1 pistol, and no way out. I spent 3 hours searching for another exit, crawling through branches, dead ends, trying every passage. The panic was overwhelming. The certainty that I was going to die down there, suffocate in the darkness, be buried alive in a VC tunnel. My breathing was getting faster, shallower. Was the air running out? Was I imagining it? Was I suffocating or panicking? I found an exit, finally. A shaft that led up to a camouflaged entrance 50 yards from where I'd gone in. I burst out of that hole and lay on the ground, gasping, crying, shaking. Tommy found me there, thought I'd been wounded, but I wasn't wounded. Not physically, mentally, emotionally. That was different. Morrison pulled me aside after. Russo, you've done 18 missions. That's more than most tunnel rats survive. You want out? I can transfer you. No shame in it. I'm fine, sir. You're not fine. You're showing signs of combat stress. The shaking, the panic attacks, the risk-taking. You need a break. I'm fine, I repeated. Wasn't true. We both knew it. But I couldn't admit weakness. Couldn't quit. The other guys were still going down. If I stopped, I was abandoning them. In August, I lost someone. A new tunnel rat, kid named Jimmy Kowalski from Ohio. 20 years old. His 3rd mission. We were clearing a complex together, 2-man team covering each other. He went down a branch to scout it while I secured the main tunnel. I heard him scream, then gunfire, then silence. I went after him, found him 30 feet down the branch in a chamber. He'd walked into an ambush. 3 VC had been waiting. They'd killed him, taken his weapons, and disappeared deeper into the tunnel. Jimmy was dead. Shot twice in the chest, once in the head. His eyes were still open, staring at nothing. He'd been dead for maybe 2 minutes. 2 minutes, and I couldn't save him. Couldn't help him. Couldn't do anything except stare at his corpse in the flickering flashlight beam. I wanted to go after the VC who'd killed him. Wanted to hunt them through the tunnels, kill them, make them pay. But that's how you die. That's how you make mistakes. Morrison's voice in my head. A dead tunnel rat helps no one. I pulled Jimmy's body back to the main tunnel, dragged him to the entrance, got him to the surface. And then I sat there, covered in his blood, shaking, crying, unable to speak. That was supposed to be me. Should have been me. I'd been the one leading. I'd sent him down that branch. My decision, my mistake, and he'd paid for it with his life. They gave me a week off after that. Forced rest. I spent it drinking, trying to forget Jimmy's face, trying to forget the sound of his scream, trying to forget the certainty that I'd killed him as surely as the VC had. When I came back, I was different, harder, more reckless, started taking stupid risks, going deeper into tunnels than I should, engaging VC when I should have backed out, daring the tunnels to kill me, maybe wanting them to. Morrison noticed. Rousseau, you've got a death wish. That ends now. You're done. Transferring you to regular infantry. No arguments. Sir, I said no arguments. You've done your time. You've survived 19 tunnel missions. That's more than anyone has a right to expect. You're done before you get yourself killed. He was right. I knew it. But I felt like I was abandoning the mission, abandoning the other tunnel rats, abandoning Jimmy. My last mission was September 12th, 1968. One final tunnel. One more trip into the darkness. The last tunnel was outside Tay Ninh. Big complex, multiple levels. We'd been hitting it with artillery for days, trying to collapse it. Hadn't worked, so they needed someone to go down, see how extensive it was, place charges if possible. Suicide mission. Everyone knew it. The VC would be expecting us after days of bombardment. They'd be fortified, ready, angry. Sending someone down there was asking them to die. I volunteered. Of course I did. My last mission. Might as well make it count. Morrison tried to stop me. Rousseau, you don't have to do this. You're transferred. You're done. One more, sir. Let me finish what I started. He looked at me for a long moment, saw what I was really saying. Let me die on my terms. Let me go out doing the job. Don't make me live with the guilt of walking away. One more, he finally said, but you come back. That's an order. Yes, sir. I went in at dawn. The entrance was partially collapsed from the artillery. Had to dig through rubble to get to the actual tunnel. The VC had probably abandoned this section. Probably. But you never knew. The tunnel was damaged. Sections had collapsed. The air was full of dust. But it was still passable. Still led deeper underground. Still full of darkness and death. I crawled for maybe 20 minutes before I found the first body. VC soldier, killed by the bombardment. Crushed when the tunnel collapsed on him. Just the hand visible, sticking out of the rubble. Couldn't tell if he was fully buried or if the rest of him was on the other side. Didn't matter. He was dead. I kept moving. The tunnel opened into a large chamber, bigger than any I'd seen before, 20 feet across, maybe 12 feet high, reinforced with wood and concrete. This was a command center. Had to be. Too elaborate for anything else. There were maps on the walls, documents on a table, radio equipment. This was a major find, intelligence gold mine. I should have backed out, called it in, let the intel guys handle it. But I wanted to see more. Wanted to know what I'd been fighting all these months. Wanted to understand the enemy who'd killed Jimmy, who'd set the traps, who'd made my life a living hell. I moved into the chamber, shined my light on the maps. American positions marked in red, attack routes in blue. They'd been planning something big, a major offensive, and we'd just found their command center. That's when I heard the click. Looked down. My boot was on a pressure plate. Booby trap. Hadn't seen it. Hadn't checked. Had been too focused on the maps. Too eager to gather intelligence. The rules of pressure plate traps are simple. Step on, it arms. Step off, it detonates. You're dead the moment you step on it. Just don't know it yet. I froze. Didn't move. Didn't breathe. My mind was racing, trying to think of a way out. Some trick, some technique, some miracle that would save me. There wasn't one. This was it. This was how I died. In a VC tunnel, alone in the dark, killed by my own carelessness. And I felt relief. Relief that it was over. That I didn't have to carry the guilt anymore. Didn't have to remember Jimmy's scream or the faces of the men I'd killed or the terror of crawling through darkness. It was over. Finally over. I started to step off the pressure plate, ready to accept it, ready to die. Then I heard Morrison's voice in my head. You come back. That's an order. Fuck. I couldn't die. Not because I wanted to live. I didn't, particularly. But because Morrison had given me an order. And Marines follow orders. Even Army guys who wish they were Marines follow orders. I looked at the trap more carefully. It was crude, simple. Just a wooden board over a grenade. Step off, the board releases the firing pin, boom. Nothing sophisticated, which meant maybe, just maybe, I could disarm it. I had tools, my knife, some demo cord, a prayer. I worked for maybe 15 minutes, felt like 15 hours, carefully cutting away the board, exposing the grenade, finding the pin mechanism. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold the knife. Sweat was pouring down my face. Every move could set it off. Every breath could kill me. I got the pin secured. Carefully, so carefully, lifted my boot off the pressure plate. Nothing happened. No explosion. No death. I'd done it. I'd disarmed the trap. I backed out of that chamber. Didn't look at the maps. Didn't gather intelligence. Didn't care anymore. Just wanted out. Wanted to see the sun again. Wanted to breathe fresh air. Wanted to live. I made it to the entrance. Crawled out. Collapsed on the ground outside. Tommy was there. Security detail. Smoking a cigarette. He looked at me. You look like shit, Tony. I almost died down there. Yeah. Most days you do. No, I mean I really almost died. Stepped on a trap. Had to disarm it with my boot still on the pressure plate. Jesus Christ. Yeah. We sat there in silence. Then Tommy said, "You're done, right? Morrison transferred you. No more tunnels." "Yeah, I'm done, thank God. I've been watching you go down there for 6 months, thinking each time was the last time I'd see you. I'm glad you're done." Me too. And I was. I was done. No more tunnels, no more darkness, no more crawling through earth that wanted to kill me. I'd survived. Barely. But I'd survived. I left Vietnam in January 1969, came home to Philadelphia, got my discharge in March, civilian again, free, except I wasn't free. The tunnels had come home with me. I couldn't be in enclosed spaces, couldn't ride elevators. The feeling of being boxed in, walls closing in, brought me right back to the tunnels. Panic attacks, hyperventilating, sometimes passing out. I'd take the stairs, always the stairs. Didn't matter if it was 20 floors, better than an elevator. Couldn't sleep with the door closed. Needed to see the exit. Needed to know I could get out. My girlfriend, later my wife, thought I was crazy. "Tony, why do you sleep with the door open?" "It's weird." Couldn't explain. How do you tell someone you spent 6 months crawling through tunnels, never knowing if the next turn would be your last, always needing an exit, always planning escape routes? You don't. You just say, I like fresh air and hope they don't push it. The nightmares were constant. I'd dream I was back in the tunnels, crawling, darkness pressing in, earth collapsing, couldn't breathe, couldn't move, couldn't escape. I'd wake up screaming, covered in sweat, gasping for air. My wife learned to wake me from across the room, learned that touching me while I was having a nightmare might get her hurt. I'd strike out, still fighting VC in my mind. I couldn't work in warehouses or basements or anywhere without windows. Tried a job in a factory, lasted 3 days. The windowless walls, the feeling of being trapped brought on panic attacks so severe I couldn't function. Ended up working construction, outdoor work, open air, could see the sky. That helped, some. Got diagnosed with PTSD in 1971. They called it anxiety disorder back then. Gave me pills. Benzodiazepines to calm the panic, sleeping pills for the nightmares. The pills helped, made everything fuzzy, made me not care as much. But they also made me not feel anything. Number, going through the motions of life without actually living. Stopped taking them in 1973. Better to feel the panic than to feel nothing at all. I tried to talk about it once at a VA support group. Bunch of Vietnam vets, all dealing with their own shit. Guy running the group asked what I did over there. I was a tunnel rat. The room went quiet. Other vets looked at me with something like awe, or horror, or both. Jesus, one guy said, how many missions? 19. How'd you do it? How'd you make yourself go down there? I don't know. Pride, stupidity, duty, all of the above. I couldn't do it, another guy said. I'd rather face an ambush in the open than go down in those tunnels. Most would. That was the point. The VC had created hell underground, and they'd made it so terrible that even American soldiers wouldn't go down there. But we did. The tunnel rats did. Because someone had to. The guy running the group asked, do you regret it? Did I? That was the question, wasn't it? Did I regret volunteering? Did I regret 19 missions into darkness and death? Did I regret surviving when Jimmy Kowalski didn't? Every day, I finally said. I regret it every single day. But I'd do it again. Someone had to. Might as well have been me. I never went back to that support group. Talking about it didn't help, just made it more real, made the memories sharper. Better to bury it, lock it away, pretend it never happened. But you can't bury memories, can't lock away trauma. It seeps out, infects everything, colors your whole life. I'm 33 years old now, 6 years since I came home. I work construction, make decent money. I'm married, good woman, patient with my issues. We have a son. He's 2. I watch him play, and I think about the VC soldiers I killed. They were someone's son, too, had families, had futures, had dreams. I took that from them. Was I right to? Was it murder, or was it war? Does it matter? I think about Jimmy Kowalski, 20 years old. Dead in a tunnel because I sent him down the wrong branch. I sent him. My decision. My responsibility. His death is on me. I carry that. Will carry it until I die. I think about the tunnels. About the darkness. About crawling through earth that wanted to swallow me. About the certainty every single mission that I wasn't coming back. About the fear so intense it paralyzed you and the discipline that made you move anyway. People ask me about Vietnam sometimes. What was it like, they ask. Casual question, like asking about a vacation. It was fine, I say. Did my time, came home. They nod. Satisfied. Don't really want to know the truth anyway. Don't want to hear about tunnel rats and darkness and killing men in underground chambers. Don't want to know about the cost. The truth is I'm still down there. Part of me never left. Part of me is still crawling through that tunnel on my last mission. Boot on a pressure plate, accepting death. Part of me is still sitting in that chamber with Jimmy's corpse covered in his blood, knowing I killed him. Part of me is still in the darkness, feeling the earth press in, waiting for the trap to spring. The tunnels took something from me, something essential, some part of my humanity that you lose when you crawl through darkness long enough, when you kill men face to face in enclosed spaces, when you accept that you're probably going to die in the most claustrophobic way imaginable. I survived. 19 missions, beat the odds, came home alive, should be grateful, should count my blessings, should move on. But I'm not grateful. I'm haunted by the tunnels, by the dead, by the darkness that's still with me, that will always be with me. They asked for volunteers who were small. Should have asked who was crazy enough to volunteer for hell. I was. I raised my hand. I said, I'll do it. And I did do it. 19 times. 19 trips into darkness. 19 times I came back alive. But I didn't really come back. Not all of me. Part of me is still down there, still crawling, still in the dark, still waiting for the trap to spring. The tunnels won't let me go, and I don't think they ever will.